Welcome to this session, Accessing Online Resources for ReadyGen. I'm Robin Dixon, Pre-K through 5th grade ELA Social Studies Consulting Teacher, and I will be your tour guide for this session. So let's begin. To access ReadyGen, you will do this through your Clever account. And the easiest way to access your Clever account is through this link right up here. You'll see them at the very top of my screen. And it says tps501.org bookmarks. When I click on that, I'm going to get some drop downs. And the one that you'll see about halfway through is called Clever Portal. You will click on this, and it's going to take you to your Clever page that you have set up within your Clever portal. And you do have a session on this. And if you have not watched how to do that, you will see that how to do this in just a bit, as there is a presentation on this. So once I get to my page, what I want is Savin Pearson Easy Bridge. So I want Savin Easy Bridge right here. I have it bookmarked. If you need help finding it, you can come down here to the Add button and you can search it and add your page to that. So once it's here, I've got it right here. I'm going to click on this, and it will take a moment to load. So what you will find is all of the classes that you have rostered to your name. Now, I have multiple teachers as I have access, and I work with lots of teachers throughout the district. So yours will just have your account. So what you're going to do is come over here to the right-hand side. You'll see Dash, Class View, and Savvis Realize. You will click on Savvis Realize, and it will take you to a page like this. Now, I forgot to mention back on this page that you will need to add products. So when you click on Add Products, it's going to look like this. And it's going to want to know what resources do you want to add for the grade level or grade levels that you teach. And you will simply click the check mark and click Save. And then when you go to your Savvis Realize, you will have access to all of those resources. So I have all 7 programs, but let's take a look at 3rd grade. And all of the grade levels are set up exactly the same way. So you'll notice that when I went to 3rd grade, I had all of these items appear. Distance learning support, the teacher guide. You also have the teacher guide online as well as in paper copy, the Scaffolded Strategies Handbook, the units, as well as practice tests and things like that. So let's begin by looking at the first unit. So you'll notice that when you go to the first unit, you will see items that look like this. And again, you'll see your teacher guide. And it's going to ask me to open it in a new window. I will simply click, and it does take a few minutes to load. So patience will be important as it's loading because there's lots of pictures and plugins that need to be loaded. So it'll show you that you can come down here and you can change it to a 2-page view. I like that. It feels more like I'm looking at a real book. Perhaps you like it as a single page. Totally your choice. So I can come down here, and then I can also scroll through to get to the pages and things that I need. And again, this looks exactly like the teacher's manual. It's just the online access. So let's say that I knew exactly where I wanted to go. I can also come up here to the menu, and I can go to the table of contents, and I can go to a specific unit or lesson that I'm wanting to teach. So you'll see Module A is right here. I'll see my overview. I'll see Lesson 1, So let's say I wanted lesson 1. If I click on here, you'll notice that it pulls up and takes me automatically to the lesson that I need. So I can click here and I'm right where I need to be for that first lesson. Or let's say you forgot to take your teacher manual home and you're working on your lesson plans for tomorrow, or it's the weekend and you're working on the lesson plans for the following week. I can come right down here and click to lesson 15 if that's what I was needing. So online access is just another way to access your teaching materials online. So that's the first feature that you can have. And also notice that there is a print button, so if you wanted to print a particular page from home or from work, you could also do that. In the unit, you will also see Module A and Module B. Depending on the story will depend on the module that you choose. If the story that you're working with in Module B, you'll click right here and it will take you to Module B stories. And you'll see that About Earth is a core text for all students. Treasure in the Trees is also a core resource within Unit 1, Module B. And again, you'll see the teacher's guide. So wherever you go, you will have access to that teacher guide. If you're wanting to choose a story, you simply click on that story and it will pull it up for you and your students. Perhaps you're wanting to read the book ahead of time. You can pull up the story and read it that way. Or if you're wanting to pull it up and use it with your students, you can pull the story up from right here. And you could do this book with a story. Or a story with an entire class. So you could pull this up. You could also annotate on your Promethean board. And you could do work with vocabulary. You could circle the word gravity. What are the context clues? If I get into another paragraph, students could highlight the main idea sentence and so on. So all the text can be accessed once you reach the module. And another place where you will need to find text selections is within the text collection. So the text collection are additional stories that students will use during the year. So once I open up the text selection, notice again it'll take it to the very first story in the text selection. Or I can also search within the table of contents. And notice that it showed the moon seems to change. Notice that in 3rd grade I can also find Thunder Cakes. I can also find Lemonade War. And it will show me the pages for Lemonade War. The moon seems to change. Poems. So you will also be using texts within the text collection. And let's go back. You will also find within the modules, you will also find Sleuth. And Sleuth are additional exercises and activities for students to complete. And again, sometimes these take just a bit of time to pull up as there's lots of interactive features to load and also plugins that take a bit of time. So you will have these for each unit and they will give you sleuth tips. Notice there it says gather evidence. Where do sleuths find clues? Ask questions. What kind of questions do sleuths ask? Make your case. How do sleuths decide on an answer and prove it? So it gives additional practice in close reading, finding answers, etc. So you'll see that these have stories, and then there's also sleuth work at the bottom that you will do with students as you do these. you'll see that there are a series of shorter stories within the sleuths where students will practice various skills. You could also use these whole class, or you could use them in small group in guided reading, for example. So let's go back. I'm going to close these tabs out so you don't see them all at the top, and so that it doesn't get confusing. So I'm back to my module. The next item that you will see that will be important for you are selection tests. Each story comes with a selection test. Here's the selection tests. You can assign these to students online, and you can also customize them. So you can go into Customize, and you can choose, yes, I want to use this question, or no, I don't want to use this question. So you'll see there's a little trash can, so you can delete an item if you don't want it. It's that easy. I could also add an item. So I can click on the arrow next to the questions that I want. I can search the standards, and then I can go through here and look at my individual questions. And let's say I definitely have said, after looking through here, I want to add this question. Then I'm just going to add the questions that I want. It's going to say done adding items. And again, I can delete questions. So I can customize this test however I want. For the moon seems to change, and I can set done. And I now have the test that I've created. And you will see that it will now show up within my selected test that I have customized and created a new test. Notice that you have tests for the anchor stories, Treasure in the Trees, and About Earth within this unit. And the moon seems to change was in the text selection. So you can create tests for any story within ReadyGen. So once you have created a test, that is another option that you will have. So let's come back over here and okay, so once we've got our test, we're set and ready to go. Once you return to the main page for the module, you will also see performance-based assessments. There are also assessments that are created that are not necessarily story aligned, but are big picture items. So let's take a look. So performance-based assessment. So in this one it says students will write a magazine article about something in the natural world in which they are interested in. So again, notice that it's not story-based, but a lot of times they're writing tasks. They're hands-on using the material that they've learned in order to transform their learning in a new way. So when I click this, it will take me to everything that I will need to know and explain to students in order to complete this task. It tells us that it's a DOK level 4. It tells us to see page 396 for reproducible pages for students. So it will walk you through exactly what you need to do to complete that performance task. And then you also have foundational skills lessons. So in the teacher manual, when it refers to a foundational skills lesson, that's where you will find these lessons. Again, they're called foundational skills. In this case, this foundational skills lesson is working with a phonics skill of vowel digraphs. It may work with a phonics skill, it may work with a skill using prefixes and suffixes. So depending on your grade level, these foundational skills may look a little bit different in primary versus intermediate. So let's come back over here and see the next item. You will also see that you can select the specific lesson that you are looking for within this module. There are 18 lessons per module, 18 lessons for Module A and Module B. Pretend you were wanting to just see what Lesson 12 looks like. So I can go to Lesson 12 and it's going to show me all of the items that I need for just Lesson 12. So you can really drill down and find something for a specific lesson, or you can look big picture and find something for the whole unit as well. So I'm going to hit the back arrow, and that's going to take me back to my main page. And the last item I want to show you is at the very top of each module. So next to the teacher guide, you will see Scaffolded Strategies Handbook. And again, I can come down here to 2-page view, which I really like. You'll see here we have anchor words rather in the text. We have English, we have Spanish, so there's EL support built in as well. We have unlocking the text, preparing to read. You'll see every time you see a little orange, looks kind of like a rectangle with rounded corners, it's going to move on to a new task. So that's another area you might want to look at if you're looking for specific skills instruction for that unit of study. And sometimes you'll get this message that says loading plugins. Sometimes it does take a while. And sometimes you do have to close out and go back in, but it just takes a few seconds to do that. That's what it's showing us right now. And you'll see that it popped right back up. So as we take a final walkthrough, I want to show you some tabs across the top of the screen. So right now we are in the green Browse tab. So we can come right here and we are browsing all of these areas. We can browse resources. We can browse standards, leveled readers, e-texts, which are all the stories online. You can also browse your classes and what you have set up for your classes within Savvis Realize. You can also access data that you have for your students that you've assigned tests to through Savvis Realize. And then you have the library. So you'll see that these are 2 different tests that I've worked on, so those show up in my library as well. Again, I can come over to the Browse tab, and let's say you've added additional materials or textbooks. Maybe you're a teacher that teaches multiple grade levels. You will see those right in here. So that is just a brief walkthrough of Savvis Realize. Should you have any other questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out. Again, I'm Robin Dixon, pre-K through 5th grade ELA Social Studies consulting teacher, and it has been my pleasure to walk you through ReadyGen online resources.